So, back. Good morning, everybody. I guess we get started with the pledge. Pledge of allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking you to just watch over our meeting as we go through the business of the county, be with all of our workers throughout this week, and be with our road department and sheriff's office as it looks like we may have some winter storms coming in. And we just ask you to watch over everyone, keep them safe as they go about their duties. In Jesus' name, amen.
David. Read the minutes. I make a motion to approve as written.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bills for the week.
Yes. That's Sean, superintendent. Sean. Discuss that. Last week.
Did you see Jessica?
That's 2 weeks ago. We approved last week's and signed 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $364,835.45.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We've got
Aye.
2 abatements. Total between the 2 of them would be a decrease of $279.46 on the taxes.
The abatement numbers 2021-98, 2021-99. You stated the numbers?
Yeah, it's a $279.46 decrease.
I make a motion to accept these.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I've got the sheriff's prisoner count. Printouts on that.
Total prisoners 13. In-house 10, farmed out 3. 134 911 calls. 4 crashes. 6 livestocks out.
Somebody got some barbed wire or something you can loan him.
I think that's probably all I have right at the moment. We've got several resolutions and different things we're going to need to deal with today, but I think that'll come up as we go through with some of the different department heads.
River City.
As progress weekly update. This week, we have accurate controls due on site. They will be arriving this week to start installing all your control equipment, the IT rooms, start terminating all those wires you see hanging in there. Flooring will continue. We did our flooring test last week. Everything looked great on the moisture as far as the floors are concerned. Ceramic tile will finish this week. You'll start seeing carpeting go down in some of the isolated rooms. Corridors will do last. Or as the rest of the building, painting will continue. The cell area mezzanine installation will continue this week. Mechanical boiler rooms, work will progress in there. Mechanically, we're pretty good shape except for the boiler rooms. That'll be probably another week or two in there to bring those around. Exterior wise, we're pretty much there. We're finishing what little bit of roofing's left, the standing seam this week, trying to beat the snow. Those will all be completed, the scupper trim outs, things like that, the miscellaneous stuff. As far as exterior work on the site, probably won't be any this week. We're kind of caught up. The weather's going to hit us, looks like Wednesday, so we won't see much going on outside, but provided everybody can make it in, progress will continue on the inside, so.
You guys have anything?
After the meeting last week, I kind of brought out a bunch of different plans. One thing is I don't know where our current plan of our copy of the current plan is.
Your copy of what current plan?
Just of the jail or anything. Have you guys sent any of that over?
You should
I
originally,
couldn't find it anywhere. David and I went through a few things. He was here for a little while and,
you're talking about complete drawings?
yeah.
Wow. I wasn't aware you didn't have complete drawings. You should have them electronically for sure.
have electronic, I don't know that we have.
We have like 100 sets of copies of something in there, but none of them were anything that really I was trying to go over. We have a few questions on the parking lot and stuff here, and I was just trying to do my duty on that.
Those will be a separate, they're not part of the current drawings as of yet because they haven't been approved. Those are proposals.
Right. And I couldn't even find the one of the current prop or the.
Oh, what you actually have here.
I think
I've got some of that for you.
you do. Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost sure you have them electronically.
We've got them
but
electronically. I've sent them out once to everybody. I can send it out again.
If,
I might go with
if there's something you want to see,
Yeah.
we can come by the job trailer and we can go over it.
Yeah, he's got the paper
Paper
plans
copies in
up
the
there.
job trailer.
So,
I don't have anything.
You got anything, Rick?
That it?
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks. Doug just sent me the fire calls if you want to hear that.
Okay.
too. So for the 24th through the 30th, they had a total of 13 incidents. It was 4 medical assist, 3 canceled en route, 1 listed as a special type of incident, other, 1 motor vehicle accident with injuries, 1 building fire, 1 trash or rubbish fire, 1 brush and grass mixture, and 1 grass fire.
Any more?
Good morning, Galen Anderson with AMR. Numbers wise, for the past 7 days, we've had 15 transports. And for the month to date, just 1 day short of the full month, we're at 52 transports. So next week I'll have the monthly detailed report to present for you. I think that's all I got.
you.
Anything for us?
Thank you. You have anything, Danny?
Have a good week.
Chris, do you have something you want? Here, I guess we can go with the health department first. That'd be fine. We can go with you, Missy.
Missy Lane, Pastor, Linn County Health Department. Continuing COVID, numbers are going down, so it's looking much better. I don't really have anything else to report.
While she's up there, we do have that resolution on the health board.
Right.
I don't know if everybody got
They're
there.
your people.
I have one back up. I had a backup.
I might just say that we talked about this last week, and the article I read in the paper, it kind of would have led a reader to believe that the purpose of this health board was to take decision-making out of the director's hands, and that's not the case. If I left that impression, I was in error in doing so. I didn't intend to. This is an advisory board. They're there to give advice, to bring public input, to take insight to the public, and they will, advise on everything. but they're not decision-making board, so.
I think it's to help you too, you know, to
Oh, I
bounce
agree.
things, ideas off of them from you, and then to bring things to us, to help us.
Yeah, I
help
totally
you.
agree.
I just
Yes.
wanted to make it clear, because if I left the impression that that's what it was about taking power away from her, that's not at all the case. So we've got the resolution, David has distributed to you. You've seen it before, there hadn't been any significant changes in it. It sets up a 7-member board. There would be a health-related person and a non-health-related person from each of your districts, plus a 7th person at large in the county who could be either healthcare related or not. And then they would meet, they would serve 3-year terms, although the first appointments would not be for 3-year terms necessarily. The idea is that of the original 7, 3 would be appointed to 3-year terms, 2 would be appointed to 2-year terms, and 2 would be appointed to a 1-year term. And then from that time on, they would all be on 3-year terms. I don't know if you want to get your names put together before you approve this or after, or
You got one.
I've got mine.
You got at large as well, you said.
I haven't won a large.
Did you have one at large?
I didn't, no, I heard.
so I don't know how you want to do this. Rick, what's your
My registered nurse, Michelle Bollinger, Rex Bollinger's wife. She's a registered nurse. Can we also decide while we're here the terms?
Well, yeah, I was going to suggest that one from each of your districts be a 3-year term, that the at large and one other one be a 1-year term, and that the other 2 be 2-year terms. So you can decide that if you.
I kind of like to do that. 2-year and a 1-year. My nurse being 2-year, and my non-health being 1 year.
Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. So we're gonna put the at large, am I the only one that has the at large?
Yeah.
So we'll put her at,
At 1 year, I
at
think.
1 year.
I think that makes sense.
So that, and you have a 1 year?
2 and a 2 and a 1.
So your healthcare person is Michelle Bollinger, who's your non-healthcare?
Pam Christian.
You'll need a 3-year though, if we get 3
No.
years.
We'll get the 3 years. Well, yeah, we were going to have 3-year from each district.
Yeah, 3 from each district. It's-
All right. Well, let make Bollinger the 3-year.
Okay.
You say Pam Christian?
Yeah. Christian.
You say Pam or Ann?
Pam.
Pam.
You have a spelling on it, or?
CHRISTEN.
And this would be a 1-year term. Okay. And that's District
1.
1. What about District 2?
I got Annie Roberts and Lacey Ernest. They both reached out to me and wanted to be on it.
Annie Roberts is a healthcare related.
Yeah, dentist. Then Lacey Ernest.
She's healthcare too, isn't she, Lacey?
I'm not sure.
She's an RN.
Yeah,
Oh, she is an RN?
yes, she works at the school.
Well, I can't have 2 medical then.
Well,
Designate one of
the way it's set up, we've got one person who's medical and one person who's not for each district. That's to give some balance to some.
Well, what I have is I have one that's a nurse and then one that's CEO for Missouri Mental Health. She's,
I guess it's up to you to define what is healthcare and what is not. If you're going to consider dental care not healthcare, and if you're going to consider mental health not healthcare,
she's CEO.
Yeah.
As far as instead of,
so if your thinking was that when you say healthcare related, you're talking about somebody who actually works in the provision of healthcare.
that's fine with me if it's fine with you two.
Yeah.
So which
So I'll put Lacey Ernest as my medical and then Annie is the consumer.
Who was the medical one?
Lacey Ernest. What's she RN what?
She's a nurse at Mound City.
And which one of those would have a 3-year term?
I'd say Lacey, yeah.
And the other one would have a, let's see.
either
one-year term? That'd be Annie. Okay, then Jim, your healthcare person was what?
That'd be Carol Beckwith. She's a long-term resident of Linn County, a nurse, 27 years of hospital and clinical experience.
And how do you spell her last name?
Beckwith, Beckwith.
Okay, and your non-healthcare?
Is Megan Riddell.
Okay, and one of those would be 3-year. Which one would that be?
Don't care. I mean, if they leave it up to them two, I don't care which one you put it. You can make Megan 3 if you want to.
Okay, and Carol would be 2-year. Let's see, and let's go back. Annie would be 2-year, not 1.
Okay.
And then your, who's your at-large?
My large is Deanne Dawson. She's president of the concern. Been volunteer for 9 years. And she's actually the last 5 years spent 5 years managing the concern.
So she'd be 1 year. So the way I read it here, from District 1, Michelle Bollinger on a 3-year term, Pam Kristen on a 1-year term, District 2, Lacey Ernest on a 3-year term, and Annie Roberts on a 2-year term. District 3, Megan Riddell on a 3-year term, and Carol Beckwith on a 2-year term. And at large, Dan Dawson on a 1-year term. And that will give us 1, 2, 3 on a 3-year term. That's right. 2 on a 1-year term and 2 on a 2-year term.
Now, the bylaws that we have written right now, they go ahead and add them into.
They would operate under under this resolution, and if they want to write additional bylaws, then they can do that.
You comfortable with that?
Yes.
I mean, this resolution lays out basically the things that would be in bylaws, but if they want additional bylaws, they're free
Right.
to do that.
So we need a motion just to approve those appointments as stated, or?
I would say let's have a motion to pass resolution number
2022-10
and make the appointments as listed.
and make the appointments as stated.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
How soon do we need to have a meeting, our first meeting,
Tomorrow.
I'm
to
sorry,
organize? It's gonna snow.
that'd be up to you.
Hey, can you consider a lot of these people work? So hey, you'll have to,
I assume it'll be of an
Tell you what,
evening.
I've
Yeah.
got some telephone numbers and everything there for mine, or if you want that.
Okay.
have it.
That'd be great, yeah.
You want it, or who?
I don't need to give it to, she'll be the staff person coordinating all this.
So then I need you 3 of you to sign the resolution.
So within the
I-
next 2 weeks?
I'd say within the next 30 days, you ought to
Okay.
be getting them together. If you know, as you, that'll be kind of up to you and them.
Okay. And will you guys send me the list with how to contact them other than these 3? Somebody?
Yeah, if you got, if
Telephone numbers
if
all
you,
on my
if
through.
you commissioners have made appointments, would send contact information to her on your.
Yeah, you might send it all to me too, so I have it, and
That way I can get it
I
done.
know that I've got, can you send him the numbers? Because I think that's on the copy.
Yes, yeah, I'll send it to
I
him when I
don't
get
think I
back.
kept
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah,
what else you got?
that's it. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank
I'd like to
you.
thank everybody that got on this board, and I think it'll be an asset to us all. So
Yeah, it'll be nice to have the
I hope
input.
it helps you too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
and Gary, did you have that? Yeah, we have to publish this too, so.
Right.
Get a copy of the paper.
Huh?
Being awful nice.
Who now, Jessica? You want to come, or just
You made Chris wait, huh?
Chris? He looks like he's got a lot on his mind.
Yeah,
I'll be
he's
quick.
got money on his mind.
Jessica Hightower, Economic Development. I've got a couple of things today. First of all, it's time to renew our RAWS resolution for the year. We have to do this the end of January now. They've moved it up. So what we need to decide is whether we want to allocate funds for this program or not. This is, employers can use it as a recruiting tool. The employee can either submit to the state of Kansas for tuition reimbursement or income tax reimbursement, depending on how long they've lived here, where they came from, and what their employer signs up for. We have to, as a county, have to opt into the program in order for anyone in the county to use it. We do not have to allocate funds. We can if we want to. We have not in the past. If we do allocate funds, we have to have those paid to Commerce. The entire amount that we allocate goes to Commerce by October 1st, and those funds will match any payments by the state.
No, we've never.
We've never allocated funds, but we have always opted into the program.
To your knowledge, has anybody in the county made use of the program?
Not lately.
Have they ever?
I mean, it's
Because
possible.
the past commissions turned it down for a long time because they didn't want to do it. And then, some counties.
I think a few did before I came on, before I started here, but we haven't had anyone.
It's a great program, and I don't understand why we don't use it and the public doesn't get it out more. And we could use it for ourselves when we hire people, but yet we deny doing anything about it. So I think we should put some funds into it, but you're going to have to explain more about what it's for and how it's done. I don't think they understand, the other two commissioners. Do you know what the laws?
Well, we had
Rural Opportunity Zone, right? And how
Opportunity
many's in out of the 105 counties are eligible for it?
I don't know. They have to be rural counties,
Right.
so the 5 or 6 major metropolitan areas don't count. So there's 2 different programs. There's a student loan reimbursement. The employee pays their student loans, and then they submit at the end of the year to Commerce for reimbursement. It's up to $3,000 reimbursement, up to $15,000 total, so it can be 5 years. Or until the loan is paid off,
This
whichever
is to
comes
encourage
first.
employees to come back.
Back to our
Come
rural
back to
communities
Kansas.
work.
They have to have either never lived here or been gone for 5 or more years.
Right.
And then the other program is if the employee does not have student loans, they can apply for an income tax reimbursement. It's again a reimbursement program. They pay their taxes and then they submit to Commerce to get. I think that one is also up to $15,000 over 5 years back, and the employer has to opt in to this program as well through Commerce, and then the employer can contribute. It's kind of like another benefit for the employee.
And the county can use it as well, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So if we were to hire someone, say we went on this binge and we wanted to hire an engineer, and somebody had a student loan, hadn't lived in the area for 5 years, and they were coming back and they had a $30,000 loan that they would pay up to $15,000
Over 5 years, yep.
That's how it would work. Now, the state created this program, but they don't want to put anything into it other than the tax break.
Right.
Anyway.
And when she's talking about the county putting money in, this is additional match that the county would make.
So the state would still make their payment, and then the county could, whatever we put into this fund would.
But that's not
Be a
required for the
match.
county to use it as a employer.
Right.
But you said the state didn't actually put.
They don't really put money into it, right?
Well, they can't. They do.
It's
What?
state
How
funds.
much?
It's partly state funds that pay
Because
off.
I wasn't under the impression they weren't putting anything into it. Is that not true?
I don't know. I thought they were.
Well, haven't we utilized this? I mean, for the last few years I've been here, and we've put money into it.
Because we've never,
No, we've never
Never
put money
We
in.
never put money.
we've never put money into
We
it.
always sign the resolution to opt in, but we don't put funds towards it.
By taking the route that we've taken, we make it available for anybody that wants to use it. We're just not putting any money into it.
So that's what we're trying to do right now.
Unless you would like to put money into it. I would like to opt in so that any employer in the county can use it if they want to use it as a recruitment.
Make a decision on the money later.
I think you have to opt in with that decision made.
Yep.
So your decision for this
Now,
year
if-
has to be made today.
If you want to, we can talk about this for budget time for next year to opt in funds, to add funds for next year. But for this year, we need to,
How much money are you talking to opt in? I mean, what's it?
I don't know what the county, I mean, it depends on the counties. I've seen some of them do $1,000. I've seen some of them do the $15,000, total for an employee for the 5 years.
How long do you keep the employee if you do this? I mean, is there something on his
Well,
side?
their payback's over a period of
It's-
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 years.
5 years.
It's divided up over a 5-year period, I think, and they get some of it each year for 5 years to make sure that they stay. If the county puts money in, do they just send that money, and if it's not used, it goes away?
I believe it sits there for a Linn County business or employee to use. I don't believe we lose it.
Jessica, Kim, if it's okay, can you try to find out some of those answers before we adjourn, and then we can make a none of us like to make a rash decision. I didn't know it was that time of the year to come up.
Well, they've moved it up. It was June.
If you could just find out a few of those questions.
Let's see if we don't lose it. If it
Okay, so what questions did you want me to ask?
Will the funds, if they put in funds, will they be lost if nobody in the county uses the
this
program?
year.
Okay.
The amount of money? The amount of money?
Yeah, how much money are we talking about, and the details on how long a person has to stay in the county to make use of it? In other words, is it a 5-year limit, or is that all the questions you had?
Yeah, I'm finding out if the counties can use it themselves for their employees
Okay.
and the schools.
The schools can. Okay. The other thing that I had to talk about today was the airport. There had been some questions last week about the RFQ that we put out for the airport planning, I guess. So I called the companies that I sent them to that RFQ to directly. I left several messages. A few called me back. Several of them don't do that kind of planning. They strictly do engineering planning. So they did not respond at all. I had one company that called me back, and the gentleman was very helpful. He spent 45 minutes on the phone with me, sent me several documents to base my next one off of. There were a few things in my RFQ that we didn't have to have in there because we're not an FAA airport. So the FAA guidelines on how you pick your proposal winner don't apply to us because we're not an FAA airport. So we can, according to him, we can base our criteria on how we do our regular bidding for our county. So we can use our county policies to pick our RFP winner. And I'm going to work on rewriting that. He said he would look at it if I have a draft for him. And then we can try to get it sent back out. So.
You guys got any questions?
About that.
Is that it?
Oh, are you gonna talk about the internet at all?
Yeah. So, Taylor, I was talking to Taylor last week about the ARPA funding. I know everybody wants to get that RFP out. I've got it drafted. The feds have sent down another rule. They're calling this one the final rule, so hopefully it's the last one, about how those funds can be spent. And it changes the guidelines. So Taylor will be here hopefully next week, maybe the week after, with a presentation. They're working really hard this week to make sure that they understand all the new rules. And then as soon as we get that done and figure out what we want to do with it, to follow the new rules, we'll get that RFP out. So hopefully in the next couple weeks.
Anything else?
Okay.
Thank you. Chris, you want to come? You grimaced, didn't you?
It's like you don't want to do this. Go ahead.
No, I was fine. Chris Martin, Linn County IT Director. I'm here with Lori with District Court, if you want to come up.
Lori don't want to go.
So what we're here to talk about is the Justice Center District Court audio visual distribution over there. I provided all of you with some basic layout and information from that. What we've done is engineered a plan based on what the original engineers had drawn up for speaker locations, things like that in the room. And as you know, there's a few additional monitors in our courtroom than what we have today. So we need a way to distribute that video and audio throughout the room and still be flexible. So we've engineered a product or a system that lets them do that, as well as split the courtrooms and utilize all of the sound equipment and audio video equipment we have already purchased, not only in our current courtroom, but in our mobile courtroom that we picked up last year. So we've been through it. Lori and I have looked over it. I've included a rack layout. That just did the other page. This is just a flow of the system for the courtrooms. And then the last page is a quote from the sales. There's no tax. The tax is on there, but look at the other number without the tax.
There's no sales tax.
Correct. So that would come off immediately. We got government pricing on this, so that lowered our pricing down. We also had consolidated some stuff. So for example, on the drawing, you'll see these little bubbled areas. Instead of treating all of those as one as independent screens, we treat them all as one screen. So we were able to reduce the amount of hardware required to be able to make the system work the way they need it to. The other thing, we've engineered it for use in the whole building. So as we progress down the line, this same back-end hardware wouldn't have to be reproduced anywhere else, but we can use it in training rooms, we can use it in conference rooms, we can use it throughout the facility, which effectively gives us a whole lot of flexibility, even to use the building for other things such as EOC operations and things like that.
And there was money in the court budget set aside for this, right?
Yes, sir.
I
So,
set aside 20,000.
Out of your budget.
Yes.
so yeah,
And that's in the equipment reserve fund, but it came out of district court.
So then where's the rest come from?
That's what we will.
Probably the rest out of my budget. I know that I've got money left that I've set out for
Pay for the rest of it.
computers and, yeah,
You got any
Would be-
questions?
4,000 something. What was?
roughly, yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
You got any, Danny?
No.
So we've got it budgeted to do this, so
Yes, sir, we do.
I don't see any problem, you guys?
Need a motion? I'll make a motion that we pay, or accept this quote from Heartland. What's it called?
Heartland AV.
Heartland AV. And I'm just gonna go up to the $26,242.15 in case there's something you need. That's my motion.
One second.
Been moved and second, all in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
That was easy enough. Thanks. Any questions?
Couldn't say no to her, that's what it was.
We'll take you.
Anything else or all
I
good?
don't have anything.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris.
Sean?
Nice.
Sean West, Public Works Administrator. First item I have is a resolution for a declaration of surplus property. These are items that we'd like to either auction or scrap from our operation.
No, all those. We can put a bid out for them on these? You putting them on Purple Wave, or you gonna?
Most
Put a
of the
bid out
items
for
that
the
are, some of them
scrap.
will be scrapped, but, and I don't know if they're marked on there which ones, but
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, the tanks are,
Thanks, a little bit.
that's what I was looking at.
the other items will be auctioned, yes.
Speaking of an ice maker, do they have a small ice maker down here for to
Yes.
make ice?
Yes.
Suggestion was to take the small ice maker and put it in to the county, into the courthouse. Did they already talk to you about it?
I was spoken to, and learned about that last week. I
Okay.
haven't been down to the shop to look at it yet, but yes.
And then buy something that produces a little bit more ice for down there.
Yeah, that's something I'll
I
be
got
looking at.
cornered. Don't go to the courthouse after a meeting, you'll get cornered.
I'll be looking at that this week.
So that was there.
I don't think Danny's seen your list yet.
He doesn't need to see that.
Now, what is the truck? It's just an old truck or?
That would be an old 5-ton that's sitting or was sitting at the Pleasanton shop.
You putting all that on Purple Wave then?
Yes.
Okay.
And it was slated the last time before COVID hit, and it never went anywhere because of that. Why
Circular saw, we just can't take the bent blade off and put a new one on.
I'm sorry.
Circular saw, we can't take the bent blade off and put a new one on.
I'm not for sure why the shop foreman sent that specific item. Normally, there's something mechanical wrong with it if it's on there.
Very good with this? Yep. Motion
I'll make a motion that we designate the items listed in Resolution 2022-06 for surplus and that they are put on, sold as, however we're going to sell them. Some will be what?
Some will be auctioned, some will be scrap.
Okay. And on the scrap, you're going to accept bids, right? On the scrap tanks, are you going to accept bids?
I
Should
think
we?
the understanding was that the cost of,
We've already have something done?
in some ways, in some of those tanks, you got to pay somebody
Right,
to take them.
right, and we've
So I think the idea, we worked out a even trade with someone.
Some of those, yes.
Okay, sounds good.
And the
That-
others, I believe, will be the county has already got a scrap price bid.
All right, that's my motion on Resolution 2022-06 for surplus.
One second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, that's being signed, just information. Our mechanic, Matt, has completed his Class A CDL in what would be considered record time. He did a good job and now is on to actually his job performance in that area.
That's a mechanic in Pleasanton.
Yes, yes. Next thing I have was the fuel tanks that we discussed that need to be replaced. We have fuel tanks that are either outdated by our compliance for their permitting, or they themselves need replaced. I'm asking and only at this point to go out to bid to see what it would cost to replace them and get a hard number and bring that back to you. And these are the shop fuel tanks at different locations and an oil storage tank.
Now, we've looked at that as far as doing away with any tanks where we have capabilities of getting gasoline, where we don't have to store it on our property.
That we do in some shops. Pleasanton is the only shop that I'm aware of that we do not, that we actually store on site, where they could go to a local vendor and do away with that option of having that tank there.
You guys think of that?
What's the recommendation?
Mine is to look at the cost of the tank, and then once we have the hard numbers, have that discussion as to whether or not.
What's in those tanks right now at Pleasanton?
I'm
What's
sorry.
in the tanks right now at Pleasanton?
We have diesel in the tanks, but the tanks themselves are out of compliance. They need replaced.
Yeah, right, okay.
So, yeah, once we have a hard number, then we need to have the discussion as to whether or not that's viable to replace that tank or use a local vendor.
You got any questions?
I mean, I think we talked about this a long time ago. I think we kicked ourselves in the butt on even talking about it. So, I mean, we got to do what we got to do, right?
I think we need the numbers to have the rest of the discussion is where I'm at. And if we get those numbers, then we look at those and decide whether or not we want to use a local vendor.
Or your 5-gallon cans?
I'll make a motion to go out for bids and tanks.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have 2 burial permits. One is on 1650 near 1095. The other is on Peterson near 1650. One's resolution 2022-03 and 2022-04. The maps are on those.
These are not resolutions, that's the burial permit number. Yeah.
And when you look at these, you'll see that I've signed off on them, but due to the weather coming in this week and them wanting to get these done, I had the shop foreman review the map that we emailed him, and he called back. He will be signing those, but he gave me the approval over the phone.
Good.
I'm good with it. Got the check and have the numbers on it.
What, Danny, you got anything? No, I'll make a motion. We, sign, burial permit 2022-04 and what's yours, Danny?
2022-03.
That's my motion.
I'll second it. Been moved and seconded, to accept these two burial permits. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Yes.
Well, 04 is, for a water line, 3-inch,
Who's the applicant? That's what she's asking.
Chad Page.
Chad Page
On both.
on Ernest Road.
I think both of them are, he's the applicant on both, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the other one's 2022-3 or 03.
Same thing. Yeah.
The other item I had for you is the areas that we looked at that could be mowed if we did contract mowing. I have those. It's all the aerials on them and the locations with the acreage. If we want to look at those or how you want me to proceed with that.
You want him to give them to you in writing and let you review them, or do you want to go through them item by item now, or what do you want to do?
What do you guys want?
What do you got up there?
Mowing areas.
I know. But I mean, you got something we can look at right now?
I think we should look at it and see which one.
Yeah.
It's not only a list of the acreages, but it's a map or several showing those areas lined out.
All right. Can we look at them in here and then later on, we're not going to decide anything today, but I wouldn't think. That's a lot of stuff, looks like.
It's quite a bit of information.
Can you email that to us as well?
I can scan and have that emailed.
Okay.
And the only other thing I need is 20 minutes for legal.
You don't have anything else, David, or?
I need about 40 minutes for legal.
Oh, my
Make
God.
an hour.
40?
Yeah, I hope we can do it in that time.
Oh.
Several things. But I think you had some answers for him?
No, but hey, he needs a CUP now. Let's not make him wait another hour.
Okay.
And we need Bobby for that.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, while she's getting Bobby, are we still short any employees? Are you still short around your area?
We have 2 positions on currently.
What are they?
We have an operator position and It's out of the north shop, but stationed in Pleasanton, and a driver position in the south shop. And then Bobby's position that we're looking for.
Okay. Okay.
Bobby Young, Planning and Zoning Director. Commissioners, what I have for you is I have a conditional use permit that's been approved by the Planning and Zoning Board. Bring to you a resolution of 2022-07. This is going to be to permit a installation and operation of a truck auto towing recovery repair lot in the heavy industrial zone.
This is located on the 10 acres that, is that the one on the 10 acres?
Yes, that'd be the one, be located on 10 acres,
That they'd be buying from the county?
just on the south side of the Fabcon.
But they're buying from us, yep.
Right.
And we can go ahead with this.
Right. I mean, we signed off on their making the application, and the purchase was contingent on the application being approved, so.
What's the CUP say for it?
What's the CUP for?
Because I knew that whenever we had talked about this, nothing that I was worried about was I just wanted to see a business plan and a letter from a financial institute saying, hey, if this something goes south, that there's backing here. That's all I wanted.
Okay. Are you wanting to know what the Planning and Zoning Board
Yeah,
findings were?
yeah.
Okay. Planning and Zoning Board voted 5-0. It was a unanimous vote at that point. To approve with conditions set by staff and report and in accordance with the Linn County resolutions, state and federal laws. Whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission, after review, consideration of all plans, reports, and testimonies did by 5-0 vote, recommend approval of said conditional use permit based on the following findings. The application conforms to the adopted comprehensive plan. The application is in a heavy industrial area. Property has not been previously developed since being zoned as heavy industrial. Property is suitable for proposed use. The proposed use will not likely have a negative effect on nearby properties to any great extent. Staff recommends approval of the application and subject to the following conditions. The use shall be operated as proposed and submitted plans and documents in compliance with Linn County zoning regulations 10.03, 10.05, 13.04 subsection 1, and all local, state, and federal regulations affecting such businesses. Proper collection, storage, and disposal of all fluid leakage so as not to propose a hazard to the safety and/or health of citizens and/or environment, and in accordance with fire safety and hazardous material regulations. Applicant shall maintain a secured fencing and gated access to the compound. All wrecked or incomplete vehicles shall be stored within the fenced compound. Lighting will not interfere with nearby properties or traffic. Applicant shall maintain property so as not to pose a nuisance And that was the findings on it.
So just to be clear, what's going on here? You're approving the conditional use permit. You're not yet approving the sale. The sale is based upon, number one, the conditional use permit getting approved. Number two, the provision of a business plan for your review. And the third thing was some financial information. And so once the conditional use permit is in place, then the owner will bring that information all to you as the commissioners with a proposal to go ahead and complete the sale of the land.
I'm good with that.
Get that? You, Rick?
Yep.
Motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the CUP and then they're gonna bring us as Gary stated. So that's my.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll need that signed copy and scanned. Okay, secondly, I have another conditional use permit. This conditional use permit was in resolutions for the permitting of Skyview Farm and Creamery to permit the establishment and operation of a retail sales point in the agricultural zone. Whereas Planning Commission, after review and consideration of all plans, reports, and testimonies, did, by a 5-0 vote, recommend approval of said conditional use permit based on the following findings. The application conforms to the adopted comprehensive plan. Application is in an agricultural area. Property has been operating as a permissible farm and creamery since being zoned agricultural. Property is suitable for the proposed use. Proposed use will not likely have a negative effect on nearby properties to any great extent. No change or additional infrastructure is required. Staff recommends the approval of an application and subject to the following conditions. The use shall be operated and proposed on submitted plans and documents in compliance with Linn County zoning regulations 10.03 and 10.05 and all local, state, and federal regulations affecting such businesses. This is going to be for, located on a 78.6 acre farm just to the southeast of Pleasanton. It has been operating as a permissible dairy creamery under current zoning regulations. What they're wanting to do is to expand and be able to sell other products that are produced by other individuals locally and more or less become a local sales point for those places, as well as probably sell, like a pop machine or something like that, pop out of a pop machine
Is that
type of thing.
800 road?
Pardon?
800 road? 800 road?
Yeah, let me verify that. Yes, that's off 800 Road.
More or less a retail store than they're in a retail.
Well, they're, they want to be able to souvenirs, things that are going to more or less complement their products themselves that they do. One of the things they had mentioned is like somebody that would create like a cheese cutting board or something like that. And maybe something that would have their logo on it. But they're just wanting to become a sales point for other locally produced items.
If you are going to approve this, your motion should indicate that you're going to adopt the findings of the Planning and Zoning Board and approve resolution number
2022-08.
Good with Danny.
I'm good with it, yeah.
I'm good. I'll make that motion. And we adopt the findings in was it 08/2022?
2022-08.
That's my motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, lastly, Commissioners, what I have is an application for an exception. This was heard by the Linn County Planning and Zoning Board on, would have been the January 11th. This is for the exception to regulation Article 12.02, which requires no more than one dwelling per lot. Property involved is an 82.3 acres located in Section 34, Township 20, and Range 23. The purpose for the building, the purpose for the exception is to allow the building and occupation of a second dwelling upon the property so that that resident could be attended to by the property owner, who is the legal guardian and family member of the person that's involved. Okay. The application, the findings, the application conforms to the adopted comprehensive plan with Article 17.04 exceptions. The property is zoned as agricultural and will remain zoned as agricultural. The property has not been vacant and is currently occupied by applicant as zoned. The property is suited for the uses which it is restricted. The application will not detrimentally affect current infrastructure. And granting the exception does not adversely affect surrounding properties. Conditions: the applicant will obtain all required building and sanitation permits. The applicant will maintain property in compliance with Linn County sanitation and nuisance regulations. And the exception will be reviewed once every 3 years while conditions exist. And upon non-existence of a condition, such dwelling will be either removed or repurposed to other than dwelling in compliance to Article 17.04 exceptions. Again, this was voted on by the Planning and Zoning Board and approved at a 5-0 vote.
And you're back there. Is that your property?
Okay, is it clear? Everybody understand what's going on with this? That our regulations say you can only have one residence per tract. In this case, it's a big tract, but he wants to bring in a manufactured home. Is that what, or something? Okay, for a family member that he's going to care for, and so the exceptions specifically allow for that eventuality.
And we've done it in the past.
So it's not really a conditional use permit; it's an exception, and but it does have some conditions. So
I'm good with that. I'll make a motion that we accept the, what is it, 20? Or is it-
It's an application for exception. There is no resolution for it.
Okay, that's my motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
That's all I have for you.
Where are we at on Codes Court? Anything at all?
we don't have a judge yet. We're still, in fact, we don't even have a district judge right now. But as soon as we get a judge, codes court judge appointed.
Are we backed up? Do we have a list or what?
Oh, yeah, I have a
Yeah,
list.
we got a list. But we don't.
Just traveling the roads this Saturday. There's some mobile homes along the way. I'll give you the road number, the roads that have no windows in them, and you know they're just sitting there by themselves, and there's nothing around them, but there's a new car sitting out there. So it gives you belief that maybe we should try to get rid of those. You know, in case there's something going on that shouldn't be going on there.
We typically have been not going out and looking for violations, but responding to.
I just drove by and it just saw that, and I'm like, okay.
Where would that, what
So,
area would that be?
I'll just tell you off record there.
Okay.
Interrupt people's business, Greg.
Is that it?
That's all I have.
Bobby? Pam, you got something?
Pam Cannon, GIS Mapping Department. I'm here for a resolution to, I don't want to word that, David. For,
I guess for fees to access the secure portal and.
Yeah.
Some of the language.
when I come in last spring to get permission for the new aerial photography with the Connect Explorer, it will allow them to access that. And then also our secure portal, which is basically online mapping. They would be able to access the maps for their town or lake development on the internet. And then any layers that I've worked with them on creating, whether it be their specific zoning or whatever, that it would include that too. So it's just kind of their own GIS through the county. And so we wanted to determine a cost for them. And that you guys had asked me to do that, to look into that to help kind of offset that price increase
Have
we
you
had.
looked anywhere else out of the counties what they do, or, I mean, have you talked to anybody?
We're pretty unique in our size county. The other counties our size don't have what all we have. So the bigger cities would probably.
I'd worked up a resolution based on what Pam gave me, and she'd give me a suggestion on prices, and I put that in one. I've also got another copy that's blank in case we wanted to do a different amount.
I kind of looked at the approach by population. The lake developments instead of by parcel count, because the lake developments don't really have that many people actually living there to make up for that. You know, if we charge by parcel count, that they wouldn't be interested or be
You're just saying a
participating
one-time fee for the cities for each,
per year.
per year?
For the cities,
Yeah, this is
Cities
for
are lake
cities to have
development.
access and for lake developers to have access.
and we don't charge them for that now?
We have what we call just an online map that DASC hosts
Right.
that has the parcels. It wouldn't have any of their utilities, zoning, or anything like that.
So you're suggesting that we charge cities?
Yes,
this-
to help cover the cost that we have, because right now, if you think about what it's costing us for that aerial photography, as well as just our software cost, it's costing the county around $50,000 a year.
What do the cities do now?
Nothing.
Do they need it?
Well, they don't have to participate. We're just establishing a cost if they want to participate.
I know, but what do they do now for their, do you know anything about what the cities are doing now?
I don't think they have anything online.
Most of them use our public access
Right.
maps to the extent that they have any use
Right.
for them.
So what would this benefit, why would they say yes to this?
Well, Parker's already said yes. They're just waiting on a cost, because that way, if they want to look up something, they have the ability to do that. Before, we had a little mini GIS system. I don't know
Right.
if you remember that or not, where we published an ARC reader map that was a free viewer, but then we basically sold them a one-time thing.
Okay.
And they've changed computers. We've progressed with what technology we have now, so, it would give them more
Or
opportunity.
opportunity?
And I've been working with the city of Lacing as well for some of the utilities. They have hired engineers, and then we supply them with like parcel lines and stuff for that project. And then when they have the finished product, then we will get that information. And then we can host that for them, and they can access it online.
And what's our fee now that we're paying for the aerial?
For the aerials, it's costing 20-some thousand a year. We just did that so that it would come out of the general fund.
Okay.
So what are you figuring per city cost?
I'm thinking for population, 600 and under, 500 per year, and population over that, 1,000 a year.
I don't think that's unreasonable at all.
Good when they get out of it. I mean, wonder how much.
It's not going to cost the county anything. It's going to help us pay for what we're already doing.
And did you get any positive feedback from the cities, other than Parker?
I haven't talked to them yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I had talked to Linn Valley representative. He had come in the office to get some paper copy maps and stuff, and I just kind of threw it out there.
So their benefit would be, if they opted into this, would be have easier access to where,
More information,
about what?
All the layers
their
she's
information,
got.
stuff that's really not county stuff.
She's got layers that show
Sewer
where the
lines.
sewer lines are, where,
Zoning,
zoning
some,
lines are.
whatever we have available, and then whatever we will develop in the future would be to them.
But if the cities choose not to, they don't have to.
No, it's not costing them anything if they don't want to
Just
participate.
making it available to them if they want it.
And that's the one I have prepared with the amounts in it is the 500 and 1,000 that Pam had suggested. And I also, I went back and looked at our open records fees, because that's really what we have that talks about setting fees. And it was already in line in that one. Fees for GIS and mapping services will be set by the Board of Commissioners and will be obtained by contacting the GIS/mapping department. So I quoted that language in here and the reasoning on why we're doing this resolution.
So if we do this, Pam, and city opts out, is the current program that they can get into now with the county, if they have one,
Nothing changes.
they
They
don't
don't have
get,
to participate in anything.
they just don't get the additional layers?
Right,
They don't get any information from this.
So you don't cut them off?
right.
Hire their own engineer.
Well, they're going to hire an engineer anyway. But then, for example, they probably hire an engineer. They don't even realize they can ask for the digital file after they're done. So then they're dependent on that engineer for a paper copy. Or they come in and make scan a copy or whatever. But it's not an actual digital file that we can overlay on our maps.
Does the school systems, like Prairie View, would they be able to use it since it's way out in the middle of nowhere?
They could, but I'm not sure it would benefit them.
No, I'm not saying they would, but they have the option to do that as well.
Yeah, anybody.
Can we, yeah.
Right now, the wording sets it up for lake developments or cities.
I don't know why we even need to charge it. Really.
Well, the only thing would be because I do specific work for them sometimes that really wouldn't be covered under my salary, just to help them out. And it also, for example, Pleasanton, when they had that fire, they lost a lot of records, but they were able to get a lot of them back through us. So, I mean, that's up to you guys, but you guys were the ones that asked if they could help pay for some of that price increase on our software. And that's a way that we could do that.
I'd be okay with it. I'd make a motion that we accept the resolution.
What's the amount right now? If they all opted in, what would that save us? Pleasant is only one over 1,000.
No. Well,
No, Lacey is over 1,000, Pleasanton, Linn Valley, and Mountain City would be over 600. They would,
Mountain City.
Mountain City is 1,088 population in
If
2019.
everybody opted in, I guess, is what you're asking, what it.
Yeah.
we got 7 cities, and which does Linn Valley fall? Are they?
Linn Valley would be in the 1,000 range.
So we have 4
4,000.
that would be at 1,000. We'd have 3 that would be at 500, and then we've got lake developments, and we got 4 of those.
Well, 3 Holidays only got population of 66. I can't see that.
Looking at another 3 if they all went into it at the 500 level.
So maybe $7,000.
7,000.
Be in that range.
And that's if everybody wanted
If
to.
everybody opted in.
And they they may not be interested for a year or two until there's more layers of stuff that actually affect them besides just
If it was the way it
parcel.
is right now, we would help them out if they wanted this, or, I mean, is it?
Yeah, I like to work together with the cities because that way,
After what the state's done for us around the clearing stuff, I don't want, they're wanting to work with us. Why would we go to charge the county or the cities?
Wow. I just have a hard point. They pay taxes just like everybody else, and this is an option. The same with the jail system and everything else. I just don't know why $5,000 or $6,000 really makes a difference to the county when we can help out the cities and be beneficial to them. I mean, it's a very big benefit, and they don't have the budgets that others do.
The school, or the SRO officers though, I mean, it'd
be the same thing.
Concept.
It would be the same thing. And I don't care one way or the other. I just know last spring,
It's not.
you guys didn't want a price increase. And so you were asking, can the city kind of help out if they use this? So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Well, there's a motion on the table. Are we going to accept it or deny it?
Right now, I don't want to charge them for it. Well, not on that, if it's for that amount.
So you declare the motion dies for a lack of a second.
The motion died for lack of a second.
So I'll make a motion that we go into this, what's it called?
You've already gone into it.
Yeah, I know. What's it called though? That
Establishing.
we allow the cities
Your
to
portal.
opt into this portal program for no charge from the cities. That's my motion.
Cities and lakes.
Cities and lake developments.
I'll second. Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
That's very generous of you.
Remind us next year when you come back,
I
right?
will. Next time you bite my head off the front, I'm going to remind you.
Rick?
And then while I'm here, I just want to throw a couple of things out there for your information. The Eagle View flight was scheduled for late March. They're ahead of schedule, so probably mid-February they'll fly.
Okay.
So that's the good news. And then also I wanted to point out an issue with the 911 address in Parker because of all the issues that's going on with that up there right now. I brought over a map that shows the problem. There's a cabin over here and their 911 address is off of the South Walnut. And I don't know how familiar you are with the issue that's going on with the recycling center up there. But they are gating it off. So I'm not sure how 911 is going to get to them unless they go around the Parker City Lake and go through water possibly to get there.
They're taking this road off here or what?
Yeah, they gated off the church and that's been a fight. I mean, this guy's dad was a good neighbor. He's not being a good neighbor. So they've been in court about the roads and
Are you
stuff.
familiar with the fact that Parker is condemning some of that to make it a public street?
Yeah, they're supposed to be.
Well, they're in the process, I think.
But anyway, it's going to be a liability of the county, so I'm bringing it forth to you guys for your information to know that if there's a gate across there, their 911 address, they're going to be having a hard time getting service.
Okay. I don't know that we can really do anything right now, right, Gary? Other than that, I don't know if
I know
AMR
the
needs
city's
it.
attorney is the same as your
Right.
attorney, so
Right.
anyway, I don't want
Well,
them
I'm
to
not.
handle about, well,
He's a county attorney, yeah.
county attorney, yes.
Yeah.
The county attorney, not the counselor. So I'm just making you aware there's an issue,
Okay.
okay?
Hey, I have a question since you're here. We just did an exception on a property to allow another dwelling to be there.
I think she's aware of this.
So let me ask you this. So if we have properties like that and there's a 911, how do they know which property to go to?
If there's a separate drive, they're going to have a separate house number.
And you can still work off of that? Because I personally know that Miami County won't allow that because I had to get it surveyed and do a different thing for a property I was selling up there.
I prefer they have their own address. It's just less confusion. But we've got instances where it's the same driveway and they've got buildings. Some of them are half a mile away. It'd be a nightmare if you had to have emergency going out there.
Right. Okay.
But it's their responsibility to have it marked so that it can be found by emergency services in the dark or whatever. It's their responsibility to have it marked.
Okay.
I think the one they approved today you were aware of. I think we talked about it some months ago, maybe.
On 1350 road?
Can't remember what road it was on.
This one was,
Uh, 16-220 Kansas Highway 7, Centerville.
yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. I was,
It's not ringing a bell if I see it.
Yeah,
If I see a
and
map and the triggers.
we know my memory's not, it's not indisputable.
I'm very visual. You ask me a question, I got to pull up a map.
Okay.
So, but that's
What
how
happens on this, like say 10 years down the road, this situation changes
It's written into it, that we review it every 3 years.
3 years?
And if the conditions have changed, or if they changed before the 3 years, that he's got to either remove the building or repurpose it to something besides a residence.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a map, but I can
I can-
stamp it. Copies.
But that's the way it is. If they're sharing a driveway, they're supposed to have the same number and then either have a unit or building number.
Okay.
So it's that way. And then sometimes you have two buildings and then one building disappears and then you just have building one and it causes a headache for trying, when we do a quality control matching our addresses, it will throw up a flag because they may have got the phone number without the building one and our point on the map says building.
Right.
Should we have two mailboxes or something to match when we do this? I mean, to match the house or, you know,
That's,
If they have signage so that the emergency personnel know.
if they just put a sign in the yard or somewhere to the house.
Now they're gonna have an address point for every address they have on the map, so the dispatcher's gonna have that available in front of them. The person driving out on the fire truck or ambulance or whatever, not necessarily gonna have that. And I've requested before, don't use Google for that, because Google's not necessarily accurate for our area.
thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've got like an hour's worth of legal sessions coming up, but we are scheduled to have somebody in here in about 15 minutes from the Marizine Federal Wildlife Area. So I don't know if you want
Some of it, Sean, that'll put it over.
Yeah, do Sean's.
Do Sean's 20 minutes and hold them up 5, or is that?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Jackie don't want to look at us, stare at each other for 15 minutes.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for legal with Sean for 20 minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Nothing from executive sessions, so I guess we'll move on to you fishing game.
Yeah.
Okay, come ahead if you'd like. Come up, state your name and who you're with, please.
My name's Craig Mowry. I work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And I just want to let you know right off the bat, we're not here to complain or gripe about anything. We're not even here to ask you anything. We just wanted to come and give you an update on what's going on at your local National Wildlife Refuge.
Awesome.
On that note, Kate Brenner here, well, let me back up a little bit. We were just chatting. Patrick Martin was the refuge manager out at the National Wildlife Refuge for about the past 12 years or so. He retired about a year ago, and last summer we were able to hire Kate Brenner to be the new refuge manager out here. And Kate's worked at several national wildlife refuges around the nation. I'm trying to think, most notably being Louisiana, Washington State, West Virginia, and most recently we stole her from a refuge by Buffalo, New York. I will say, though, that with the Chiefs beating the Buffalo Bills last week, she's definitely upgraded, I think. I'm just saying. But like I said, my name's Craig Mowry. I'm Kate's supervisor, and I supervise the other refuge managers in the state of Kansas for the Fish and Wildlife Service. My office is at a refuge over by Emporia. And so I come over here once in a while, and I go west once in a while. Just a little history. I grew up in north of Salina at Concordia. Went to K-State, graduated there, went to Wyoming to work for Uncle Sam for 8.5 years. Then to South Dakota, to some refuges there, then North Dakota, then back to Kansas for 10 years, then northern Minnesota for 7, and then I've been over here at by Emporia for the last 3 years. My mom's side of the family is all from southeast Kansas, St. Paul, Girard, Pittsburgh, and actually I was just thinking today, my 3rd grade grandfather was in the 14th Kansas Volunteer Cavalry out of Fort Scott. So anyway, enough about that. Kate's wants to give you an update on stuff going on at the refuge.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
So he kind of gave you my background, but I'm from Minnesota, North Dakota originally, so northern Midwest. So I'm not unfamiliar with the Midwest lifestyle, and I'm happy to kind of be back in this area. Well, new to Kansas, but back in the Midwest. The refuge has a lot of new stuff going on. We had quite a few changes of staff over this last year. We recently hired a visitor services specialist, park ranger, who's helping with a lot of education, interpretation, outreach with the public. She's working in both the Kansas City area and the local area. She did a couple programs with the libraries last year and is planning on moving forward with that and hoping to get into the school system a little more too. And then we also hired a new assistant manager, Dana Arnold, and she is fresh out of college, and she'll be helping out with some biological work out on the refuge, which brings me to some of the work we're doing on the refuge. We have a timber harvest currently happening on the refuge. We got a company out there pulling some trees out for us to improve the habitat, taking out some non-desirable tree species and opening up that habitat so we can improve the forest, that bottomland forest that we're known for. Other things that we have going on is, we talked about those tree plantings. Those are doing pretty well that Patrick helped get into play about 10 years ago, and those are doing really quite well. We had a couple, tree survival issues in some fields, but some are really doing well, which is helping with our Sericea, Lespedeza control. So we're helping major invasive species control there with those trees, putting trees into those fields. the newest things we have coming this next 6 months to a year are a lot of visitor services aspects, facilities on the refuge. So you'll start seeing construction in the next couple weeks of a new parking lot and a trail on the refuge. That is going to be right out of our headquarters building. It's going to be 100% ADA accessible. It's going to be a concrete trail, so you don't have to worry. People don't have to worry about ticks because we all know the ticks are horrible out here. It takes them through the grassland, through a forest, and into ends at a pond on the refuge. So they're getting to see a variety of habitat. And this should bring in a lot of visitors to the refuge and the county. Additionally, we're getting an outdoor education pavilion, which will help do some outdoor education and interpretation. So we'll be able to have some picnic tables out there, and Nova will work with folks doing different programming. I'm missing something. Oh, the exhibit. I knew I was missing something. We currently have an exhibit area that has just kind of a display case, and we're getting a brand new exhibit put in there this fall. And that is going to be really cool. It's going to explain to the public about the different habitats we have on the refuge. It's going to be interactive, just a really cool learning experience. The centerpiece of it is going to be a model of a tree in the middle of the room with different species of animals on there for kids and adults to explore. So that will be very cool. That's supposed to be installed this fall. And then the final thing that we're doing visitor related is it happens to be our 30th anniversary this year. We are putting in all of these new visitor facilities, and we're hoping on October 15th, so save the date. We'd love for you guys to come out as have an event, a special event to celebrate the 30th anniversary and all of these new facilities for the public to enjoy. So just a day that we'll have folks from around the area come out, and ways for folks to learn about wildlife and the habitat that we have out on the refuge. And as you guys probably know, we offer several opportunities for folks to enjoy the refuge through environmental education, wildlife observation, interpretation, hunting, fishing. All of those opportunities still remain and will continue to remain on the refuge. So do you guys have any questions?
How many acres does the refuge consist of?
We're about 7,500 acres.
And how many people do you employ?
I have 4, plus we have a fire management officer and a law enforcement officer at the refuge. And then we bring in some seasonal fire folks, and hoping to get a couple other seasonals this summer.
So if you have seasonal people, how do people in our county seek applications for that?
Sure. Yeah. All of our applications go through either USA Jobs or through a contractor. We typically contract through American Conservation Experience. And those are like internship type opportunities.
Hire any kids or high school age kids? It always...
The American Conservation Experience would be how we would do something like that. So hiring a crew to do invasive species work, we do through the American Conservation Experience, and then also we're hoping to hire locally an urban intern this year.
You guys ever reach out to the local schools for that? Any jobs like that, or?
Or even projects that maybe they could work on as a school project?
Yeah, so Nova's really going to be working on that and working with the schools to come out. We're planning on doing some planting around this new trail and getting the school groups to come out and do some of that work, volunteer some time, learn a bit more about the refuge, and yeah.
What's the whole purpose of the refuge, though? I mean, why do we need it?
Yeah, so the purpose of the refuge is to conserve the bottomland hardwood forest that we have at the refuge. It's very unique to Kansas, and it is a sister habitat to the wildlife area that is adjacent to us, and so it helps us kind of create one really sound ecosystem between our two refuges.
So people that's going to go and visit your visitor center and all the new projects that's coming up, is it certain hours of the day? And when the walking trail is done, is it a 24-hour thing, or what's the plan?
Yeah, the refuge grounds are open sunrise to sunset.
Okay.
So they're open, 15, 16 hours a day, depending on the time of year. And the office will be open regular business hours. We're currently not open. We're still under some COVID restrictions, and we're kind of waiting for our exhibit hall to be put in before we really open. But once we do that, our hours will be about 8 to 4 for the visitor center.
When you harvest the hardwoods, do you like off of age, off of some of the older walnuts and things like that? Do you guys harvest that?
Yeah, so we had arborists come in from a couple refuges in the Missouri and North Carolina area, Tennessee, yeah. And they came in with Fish and Wildlife Service, and they helped identify the trees that would be ideal. And so some of them are older age trees, end of life type of trees, and some are, invasive or not ideal. So like the green ash, although the emerald ash borer isn't in this area yet, which is just decimating the green ashes, we have green ash is pretty dominant in our area. So we're pushing more towards oak and hickory and trying to get those species growth up. And so like some of the ashes were pulled because we don't want the emerald ash to invade us.
That tree program you're talking about, is it the same outfit that comes from Alabama and they work with the power plant and the pollution and they plant trees on your guys' refuge?
So the harvesters are out of Missouri. You might be referring to the Conservation Fund. I don't know who works at, do you have any idea?
I don't think it's the same group.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Not exactly, but you're talking about the one that planted the tree.
Yeah, how I know them is for years they stayed at my cabins there in Pleasant when I owned them, and they're an outfit out of Alabama, and they were orchestrated with the power plant, I guess, with the pollution it puts off or something.
Oh.
Pollution, they put a tree.
So yeah, the carbon sequestration. It was the same program, probably different organization doing the planting for us, but the same trying to harvest carbon from the environment.
Is that still going on?
Yeah, so that was what I was talking about with the 10 years ago. Those were planted, and we're letting those grow up. And some areas have done better than others. Some are really thriving and doing really great. And we planning on doing some supplemental planning over the next couple years. We have one area planned, a new area to do some planting as well. But that was the Go Green, I think was the name of the organization.
It was a conservation fund was the organization that the money kind of ran through. And it was Go Green was one of
the program
funds, initiatives, but it worked out really well to plant some old crop fields back to trees. Native type habitat there on the refuge. So it's still going. We've still got some money in the bank for management of those fields from that mitigation money. I think the mitigation money, somebody built a pipeline through some other part of Kansas, and the money went to the conservation fund kind of for tearing up that habitat, and then the conservation fund, we worked with them and they pushed it right over here to Linn County. To plant those trees. There's a lot of trees.
Yeah, and so that's been an incredible help with invasive species. And ultimately, we were fighting these fields from transitioning into forest anyway, and spending a lot of time treating the fields for these invasives. And so the trees shade them out, and it creates a great habitat. So, and we're still maintaining grassland habitat and shrubland habitat as well. We've just designated, about 5 years ago, we went through a planning process that designated which fields we're going to maintain as prairie and which we would allow to transition into trees or push to transition into trees.
So we film our, all of our commissions, so that's why we're asking probably a lot of questions too. Is there hunting and fishing allowed on that property at all?
Yep, absolutely. About 5,200 acres, don't quote me on that number, is open to hunting and fishing. We have one portion that is closed for per the Migratory Bird Treaty Act to maintain areas a safe haven.
And how do people find out more about where they can go and what they can do for that?
So you can go to our website. We are in the process of getting a new website, so we haven't been keeping super current on it, but we also have a hunting and fishing brochure that you can get at the front kiosk of our the refuge right there. And we do limit the amount of deer hunting and spring turkey hunting is by permit only. And those are through the KDWP permitting process.
And are there any farming programs that's allowed there, or any farmers allowed to bale hay or any pasture?
We currently don't have any farming on the refuge, and don't anticipate really having farming. Haying is still an option, maybe potentially down the road, but it's not something we are looking at right now.
Yeah.
You have anything, Danny?
No.
If anybody's interested, we will definitely make it a point, two things, make it a point to, when we have jobs available for younger folks, we'll get that to the high schools and get the word out locally the best we can. We always try and do that because we always love to keep the local community involved. And if anybody's got any questions, I know Kate's got some brochures in her hand.
Well, that'd be something that could go on our website, couldn't it?
Yeah.
We have a website. If you guys would send it to our,
Sure.
and I don't know who our contact person would be.
Yeah.
Another thing that people buy fishing and hunting licenses at David's office, if you had some brochures that they could make available in their office.
Oh, yeah, we absolutely could do that. That's easy. We have boxes of them. So, well, here, I'll give you guys these brochures here. These are just our general brochures.
Are the duck marshes off 69, is that part of your refuge?
So on the right side of the road, as you're heading north on the east side there, that is us. On the west side is the state.
You guys work with them at all?
We do. We work with them well. I'm getting to know Jacob, and we're hoping to do.
Do you know what their acreage is over there? Is it like 2,600 or something like that?
I don't actually know what theirs is.
It's real close to the same as,
Now, does the highway divide it? I mean, is that the way it is?
we're pretty close. The state has some on the east.
They do have some on the east side.
But I think the state side, it's gotta be like 5, maybe 6,000.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's ENNER.
I wasn't
Yep.
sure.
Yep. No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Very
Appreciate it.
Just call the refuge, talk to Kate,
Yeah.
and we'll sort it out. Help
Yeah.
out.
Okay. Appreciate you
Fun.
coming in.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
You too. Look at this, Danny. Mowing.
Wow. I started looking at numbers a little bit on the commission districts, and I need to check in with the Secretary of State, because I'm getting one set of numbers off the state site, another set off the census site, and I'm not sure where we're at, so I want to get with them. But from what I'm seeing so far, I don't think we're probably going to need to move anything. We're within, well, less than 200 from the smallest to the largest district from what I'm looking at. And I haven't spotted a good way that we could make it any closer, but I'll continue to look at that and see if we need to make adjustments this year.
Okay. What, we got 40 minutes?
I think I can do it in 30. I'm gonna try.
He saw that clock.
And then if Jessica gets any more information on the draws when we come back out, we might look at that again too.
Okay, so we're gonna go into executive session for legal with Gary for 30 minutes. That's my motion. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Stan.
We have 15 minutes more.
I'll make a motion, we extend executive session for another 15 minutes.
I'll second it.
Moved in,
All in favor?
aye, sorry.
You want to recess for 10 minutes?
Yeah. Let's not tell them in there.
Just recess and
Recess and,
You
yeah.
can do one motion to recess for 10 minutes and then executive session for however long you need.
Okay.
we'll recess, and then when we open back up, we'll go into executive session. So I'll make a motion. Okay.
For how long in executive?
15.
15.
Okay, so 10 recess, 15 executive.
I'll make a motion. We're going to recess for 10 minutes. And then after that, we're going to go into executive session for 15 more minutes for like.
Second. Yeah, there will be probably.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for 5 more minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
guess we did have some action on the change order.
I think with we got change order number 13. We've examined the some legal issues regarding it, and I think we're ready to move forward on it. Change order number 13 is covering some additional requirements made by the state fire marshal, some additional cost on the walk-in cooler and freezer, and it is transferring some unused allowance monies into a contingency fund. It has the net result of increasing the contingency by $108,865.38. That's the net result of change order number 13.
I'll make a motion that we approve change order 13. No, 100 and,
$108,865.38. You'll sign right there on that line. I'll fill in the rest of it.
We still need to.
yeah, I know. It is illegal, he did that.
I'll second it. Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we still have a topic we want to talk with you about in here before we're done today, and then Jessica's back. She's got more information.
anything. I've left voicemail and email and everything back.
And we have to make a decision on that today.
The way we had it ready was without us.
With zero, allocated.
Well, let me ask you this, Jessica. If the county did contribute funds to it, if they did, would it be beneficial to the public, for businesses, and to the county to do that? And do you think anybody would use it, honestly? If not,
Well,
then that's fine.
honestly,
But I
we
will
have-
tell you, hold on. I will tell you that Miami County's economic development person up there, Janet, says, I don't know why you guys don't use it. And we talked about it before, because it does provide opportunity for those people that with a college degree or a technical, certificate or whatever we determine for that, to come back to our community. And if they've got an outstanding college fund or VOTEC, that will pay for some of that.
Uh-huh.
And our salaries are not Johnson County or Wyandotte County's fees. That may entice someone to do that if they've got a lot of college debt, whether that be at the medical or wherever. So that's the only thing I can say. And we've never talked about an amount. We've never have. And I don't know if it's beneficial or not. I really don't. But I just hate to see the opportunity to invest it.
We don't have anybody on a waiting list at this time. The employers have to sign up in order to use it, so they have to go through an application process, and they also have to send money to Commerce to sponsor an employee. I mean, if
So that they have to have somebody set up already to, but do they do this ahead of time and then?
the
hope they get
employer
some-
does, yeah. If they're going to use it as an incentive for their employees,
So
yes,
They lose
a
their money
benefit.
if they set this up?
See, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know, and they haven't gotten back with me yet.
I guess I don't guess. I think we should opt in without any money this year.
That's fine.
But we definitely need to look into the program more.
Look at it and figure out whether we lose the money if
Yeah.
we don't use it.
And all the
Well,
other
and
questions.
I can try to get them back in front of you guys. They were here over the summer. I know that, Craig Van Wy was here. He's one of our commerce reps for our area. Rachel Rowand is the one who manages this program. She was on maternity leave over the summer, so she didn't come. But I can get her here one day, and she can talk to you guys and answer questions.
I'm just saying, somebody may have a grandkid or kids that go out and do a 4-year degree,
Yep.
and then they do a year of out wherever they're at, and maybe they're starting their master's program, and they find a job in Linn County that really doesn't pay equal, but they've got debt and they really want to live here and all that.
I think it's a good program.
I do too. So I will make a motion that we go into the program without the county contributing any money this year.
Okay.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
I have resolution number 2022-9.
So you're gonna need to pass that resolution.
We just kind of did without saying the resolution.
Yeah.
So that resolution,
Sign it and date it.
that resolution was 2022-9. Can we do that?
I think so.
Then we have to vote on it.
I'll make a motion that we pass resolution 2022-9.
I feel better about that.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
David will need to mark it.
We decided anything about this? What we want to do?
No, we need to talk about it.
No?
Hey, but I got one more question for you. Hold on, I forgot. Just, I'll get with you later if I remember it.
You need the original. Now, a lot of these guys, are they volunteer, like Jeff Wisdom, volunteer firefighter?
I think they are.
They
Yeah.
voluntarily
I
do
think
that?
they are voluntarily.
But
Like Russell and all them, they volunteer, just know.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I guess we need.
Jesse, stand right there for a minute while I remember. Go ahead.
Do we need
Is
to
Sean
get
in there?
Sean back here to see about,
He's gonna email us this stuff to you to look it over. Didn't he say that?
Yeah. He didn't include the park, did he?
no, I don't,
There's a map in there.
The 14-acre map there.
of the park.
Yeah.
That's kind of a,
Just in case you wanted to do that. Oh,
another day.
that'd be about $1,200 a week. Have that done.
Oh, sure.
Huh? $75 an acre?
Well, I don't know what you want, finished mower or
Huh? Well, yeah.
you don't finish mode?
Well, if not, then he can do it himself. I mean, bush hog, that's fine. The problem is, and this is the problem, is they won't do the brush hog. They won't. That's why those mowers are worn out, because they want it to look nice. They'll mow it all like that. That's what they've been doing with the 60-inch cut mowers.
So some goats going or something. some
Yeah, some goats in there. Okay.
Planning on having a
I'm still thinking.
session on the cleaning too, or where are we at on that?
Come back next week, you might remember.
mean, we can talk about it next week, but we really need to get it out there.
Well, it could be good if we go ahead and at least talk a little about the cleaning position, just some ideas of what we're looking at.
Okay.
So I talked to Rick. I couldn't get anybody into 200 of the buildings, but he did look at them, and it would take a minimum of 6 hours just to do the new judicial building over there. And that's just a minimum. It just depends on how much carpet they have over there, which is vacuuming time. I talked to Missy, and she thinks it's gonna take an hour and a half to 2 hours to clean the health department, just alone, and that's sweeping, cleaning like the 3 to 4 bathrooms that they have over there. It's all concrete floor. And then just our courthouse.
It's not just your courthouse too. You got the district court old building there too.
I understand that. I'm just kind of going down the line. So he said that'll take a couple hours a day as well to get that done. Depending on what we do with the district court, who we move over there, that'll depend on how much cleaning it's gonna take.
Sure. We know who we're moving over. The top deck's coming up.
So did Goldberg, did he finish, or did he figure in like cleaning stuff? I mean, there was that study of they were gonna do all this training for our department and stuff. I mean, do we know if cleaning was over there? Does he have a figure in what's gonna cost us yearly to do that? Do you know?
I don't think that was included. I think we're talking about, the study dealt with jailers.
Oh, that
and
was it?
That sort of thing, yeah.
The one thing that we do need to keep in mind, anybody who cleans the new building over here, anybody who walks in has to be fingerprinted and background checked. So we contract it out. We have to, nobody can go in and clean if they're not scheduled and they're not already done.
Like, what you're getting at is we need to move pretty quickly to
Yes.
try to get somebody hired if we can get all this done.
Is it one you're needing?
So if we do part-time, if you're thinking 6 hours minimum on the new building over here, and that's a day, you can only utilize them about 2.5 days. So you're gonna need 2 to 3 part-time people.
6 hours for half of that building roughly. I mean,
That's
the jail.
minimum, that's just minimum a day. And that's cleaning it daily.
We free up the mowing. Does that free up any cleaning for anybody?
Yes and no, and that's gonna be a Sean question and personnel.
Well, I mean, we're gonna free up the mowing because we weren't getting all the maintenance done, I thought, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thought on that. We always knew that we was going to have to hire someone to clean over here.
I mean, our maintenance, our mail, our cleaning, our,
Yeah.
well, everything.
Yeah.
Ideally, we have 2 maintenance people instead of just 1.
So it's really whether we want to hire a full-time and a part-time or 3 or 4 part-time.
I think we should have a full-time as a boss. I mean, a department head, wouldn't that be how that would kind of work? Not a department head, I guess, but like a supervisor.
A housekeeping supervisor.
And then,
And
then we can
somebody
turn
who
it
come
in
in
and say,
on
hey, what happened?
weekends.
Do what?
Or somebody, a part-time person that could come in on the weekends or.
Did we talk to Sean about if that individual's going to be a supervisor, so to say, he would take over the supervision of the cabins, cleaning those two, supervising the people who do that? I know they have somebody over there, right?
Right. And
Is
they
it a
just started
part-time?
this year. Yeah, it's just seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it does need some supervision when I went up there. That's my opinion, though. Not to dog anybody, but.
I mean, it could definitely use some thought in the cleaning process.
Okay.
But it's just gonna take some time to get whatever we decide, it's gonna take some time to get somebody hired, so that's why we need to really. Because as you can tell, the hiring for even the road and bridge department is not going as fast as we would like it.
And I guess it's not that we couldn't put an ad out for cleaning people now, but I think that's some of the big question is, are we looking for a full-time person? Are we looking for 2 or 3 part-times? Because that's going to make a difference on
In
how
my
we
opinion, I think we
advertise
should
it.
get a full-time in here, let them do the assessment, then they design what we're gonna do and we go from there. I mean, that'd be what I would want. That'd be my recommendation.
I feel
I mean, there's gotta be
it's gonna better
accountability.
with a full-time person.
What do you think, Rick?
So what do you pay for something like that?
That's a good question. We don't really have anything on our schedule that just lists cleaning, I don't think. We years ago had some part-time custodians. That was the idea. They'd come in and clean, and those are way down the
Yeah, we
scale.
won't find anybody for that. They need to be at least.
If you get up to,
Start them out.
yeah, if you get up to the bottom part we have on here for maintenance and custodian, range 8 starts at 1485, goes up to 1813. I don't know.
I don't think you're gonna get anybody less than that.
Less than what?
Starting.
1485 is the bottom of
Yeah,
that
that's
range.
starting.
So basically $15 an hour plus.
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, I think. I think you're gonna be hard to really find anybody to do any positions anymore less than that. Although we still have some people already working that are down in that range or lower.
Yeah. Bring up a whole another issue.
I would suggest that we do a full-time so there's accountability, and we have them do the assessment and we hold them liable for what's gonna happen, and we look for them for a plan.
Be over the health department.
Do over everything in the county, my opinion.
Just a housekeeping like supervisor position. And then our county building.
You gonna write up the job description?
And
They need to understand it's not just they're a supervisor.
again, they're gonna
Only in theory.
It's gonna be
Also supervisor.
Yeah, it'll be a housekeeping position with supervisory roles in
Chief
it.
housekeeper.
Yeah,
Chief.
probably won't label it that, but
What do you think about that?
We're taking on quite a bit more area, two buildings.
I just think if we do the part-time, we're gonna have a harder time with them because it's gonna be a lot more than they would probably.
I just don't think one person's gonna be able to do it all.
I get that, but I feel like if we get.
So then you add another person to it, you know?
And I don't know that I want to hire two.
No, I'm not,
One full-time, one part-time. I mean, we could do that, or, I mean, you could do the,
I like Danny's idea at least to let them figure out what they gotta do. So they're gonna have to suffer a little bit for a bit. And,
Hey, you're building this. What do you want? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on it.
but, I agree, if we hire a full-time, I don't think one person can just get around all the stuff that they gotta do every day.
the part-time, they could delegate whatever they're gonna do to that person.
So I would support a full-time position, but I will tell you that if it's more than one part-time afterwards, then we're gonna have to talk about quite a bit.
So for now, you want to advertise for a full-time?
I'm okay with that. What about you?
I'm okay with it.
We're okay with it.
Yeah, my dad's gonna fund him, but
And with those fees that amount you talked about, and then you're gonna do the job description and
Taken care of,
you're the best.
what I do.
It's what you do.
So advertise for full-time now and discuss additional part-time later.
Yeah, yes.
what else?
That's it.
I think we just needed to know what direction you wanted to go so we can get moving on that.
Okay. Anybody got anything else? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moving second, all in favor?
Aye.